I'm Becky.
Hey, I'm Shannon, and welcome to.
Unfiltered Voices. Right, okay, so this is our first podcast, so bear with us. We've got a few things to talk about, and the first one being who we are. So, I am Becky, I am 38, I have 5 children, and I have 2 grandchildren. Most of you are going to know me from exploring, which is my hobby, and that is like exploring abandoned places. Rooftoping as well has become something that I enjoy. So, yeah, I don't really know what else I can say about myself. So, Shannon?
So, my name's Shannon. I'm a 27-year-old mum to 2 children, a boy and a girl, who are 6 and 11. Most of you know me through being tagged in Becky's post. So, hey, thanks for that. And I also do exploring too. Rooftoping, not so much because heights scare me a little bit. But yeah, recently got into exploring about 2 years ago, and here we are.
Okay. So, the next topic was going to be um, why we started exploring.
Okay.
Okay, so the reason I started exploring was because me and Ricky back in 2019 went to Harwich, and there was like some like wartime stuff that we went to go and explore, and then from there it kind of kick-started us into wanting to do more, and then we started doing like RAF places, and then I moved on to the houses. Ricky doesn't like the houses so much, but that was something that I really enjoyed because it was nice to see like how people left their houses when they passed away or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, I started doing a lot of houses, and it just basically went from there. But more so, the reason why I started exploring was through mental health, which I'll get onto in another thing. But yeah, my mental health wasn't great, and I found that exploring like calmed me down a bit, and I wasn't so bad mentally. It does come and go, obviously. Mental health, I don't think is just going to disappear. But yeah, that was probably the main reason why I started exploring when I did. So yeah, that's all I've got to say about that.
And I think so many people that do what we do it for a very similar reason. They all have their own mental health battles. That's what I've found through meeting people through exploring as well.
Yeah.
So I started exploring about 2.5 years ago. So a lot more recently than you did. And I think it was coming up to my birthday, and I was with a friend who doesn't do exploring at all. And she said, "Have you seen that big old abandoned, I think it used to be a care home?" And I said, "No." She said, "We should go and have a look." So we literally did it off the back of just being bored on a Friday night. She hated it and I absolutely loved it. I was hooked. I love the photography side of it personally. I think you can find beauty in a smashed window and a branch coming through that smashed window, whereas most people would walk past and be like, "Look at that eyesore." I think if you capture that moment like correctly, you can make it look so beautiful.
Yeah.
And again, with my mental health, which again, as you said, we'll discuss as we kind of go along, I find I just am in my own little world when I'm exploring. I'm not worrying. I'm not anxious. I'm not thinking about what tomorrow's going to bring. I'm just enjoying the there and then. It's like your mind goes silent. And I know lots of people find that in such different hobbies, whether that be exercising, horse riding, crafting. But for me, and I think you as well, it's exploring.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Um, so we obviously just spoke about mental health, which was going to be the next thing that I was going to talk about. Um, Now, I probably won't. No, I'm sorry. I probably will go into a little bit of detail about mental health with me, just because it would make sense, I think. So, in 2019, my mental health was probably at its worst. And I found myself feeling really suicidal. I did self-harm. And that's probably why I have quite a few tattoos, because I found like a relief in when like getting tattoos rather than self-harming. The pain that I was getting from tattoos was like taking away that urge to want to self-harm. So yeah, that's probably the reason for all the tattoos. But yeah, my mental health was really, really bad to a point in 2019. I had a lot going on in my life, a lot, and it got to a point where one night it got too much, and I went and stood on a bridge, and I just thought, "Do you know what, I'm done." Like I just felt completely done. And some bloke was just walking past, and it was early hours in the morning, but I'm thankful. He was walking past and he was trying to talk to me. I didn't really want to talk. Obviously wasn't feeling great. I wasn't feeling talkative. And he kind of said to me, like, "Are you okay?" And I looked at him and I just shook my head no, like I wasn't okay. But he said to me, like, "It's not worth it. If you're thinking of doing something silly, it's not worth it." And then, because I wasn't really talking to him, he just went. And then I thought that was the end of it. But before I knew it, I had like 6 police cars boxing me in on this bridge. And I was fine, obviously. And they took me to safety. We spoke. Ricky come and got me. And I kind of come home. And I think that was my realisation that night, that I really needed help. And that I was in a real bad place. But from there, we then started exploring, and I noticed that every day got a little bit easier, and it wasn't as bad as what I always thought it was going to be. But I also found a release in running, so I started running as well, because it was like achieving all these personal goals. So I found ways to kind of deal with my mental health, which, don't get me wrong, like I still have really bad days now, but it has got a lot better than what I once was at. So yeah, mental health isn't great, and this is why I believe in talking about it, because I don't want people to sit there and think that they can't ever talk about their problems, especially to me, because I would rather people come to me and talk to me about their problems than sit there and like suffer in silence. So like
Yeah.
I'm really big on mental health stuff, so and I try to make people aware of that, so they do come to me. And I have had people come to me, and it's nice that people can come to me because they feel they can talk to me, because that's the person I am. I like to talk. So yeah, mental health isn't great for a lot of people, but there is a lot of help out there now, a lot more than what there probably was back in 2019 when I wasn't kind of great. There was help there, but not as much as what there is now. So yeah, that is really my mental health.
And I think you've made such a community as well, like not just the group chat and stuff like that, but mental health can make you feel so alone.
Yeah.
And I think that's when it gets very overwhelming and suicidal thoughts can come in. And, when you're a part of this community, lots of your followers speak amongst each other, speak to you, like you said, and that can make them feel just a little bit less alone, which can sometimes make all the difference. So I think that's so important in what you've built as well.
Yeah, and I like the fact that people are communicating with each other via messages and like the group chat that I have set up, because it's nice just so that if ever I'm busy and I can't respond to someone that maybe needs a little bit of help, there is other people in the group that are obviously suffering with maybe mental health problems, where they can talk to another person that's not doing too great. So I feel like the group chat that I've made is like a really positive thing, and I'm hoping that people are kind of seeing it that way as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think also there can be quite a lot of shame in mental health, which is completely wrong. Sometimes I have felt, obviously I've suffered with mental health since I was 17. So when I was 17, I actually had a section to a mental asylum, and I was there for 28 days.
Mhm.
That was more for intrusive thoughts. So I was getting all these thoughts that I'd be walking down the road and I'd just envision cars crashing into people, and I got into a really bad place. And I think it is becoming more spoken about, like you said, which is great, especially when creators are speaking about it as well. But I think sometimes you can be feeling an emotion or a feeling and you think, why am I feeling this? And it's always finding a reason for it, when sometimes there isn't a reason for it, you know.
Yeah.
I know I've had good days, and then the next day I've woken up and I've just felt so low. And I've said to you, why do I feel like this? But there isn't always a reason. That is mental health. It's literally a scale that goes up and down. And I don't think, being completely honest, it ever goes away completely. It gets better,
Yeah.
and life adjustments and, you know, changes here and there and finding new people along the way can help. But I think it's always something that lingers, you know, and that is okay. It's coming to terms with, I do suffer sometimes, but that is okay because I'm not alone. Because I can guarantee you, whoever hears this or whoever listens to it, anything you've ever felt or are feeling has been absolutely felt by somebody else as well.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
you're not strange, or, you know, for feeling these emotions or these feelings or these urges. You know,
Mm.
there are so many people out there. Some speak, some don't. You know, and that is kind of what I think people need to bring more attention to, is that there is no shame in it at all. It's actually becoming very normal to speak openly about our struggles, and that's great.
Yeah. I mean, I've obviously spoken. I'm very open with how I'm feeling. So some days, if I'm not feeling great, I will openly tell people. And I've had people come to me and say, "Do you think that you're saying too much, like for people to know so much about your life?" And no, I don't, because I want people to know that talking about your mental health isn't a bad thing. Like, it's a really good thing, because if you feel like you can talk about it, other people are going to learn from it, and then they feel more comfortable to come to you, like, in the future, if ever they're not feeling great. So
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
And there's that reassurance as well of, you could say, you know, I've had that, I felt like this, and, you know, now I don't. So there's that reassurance of, actually it can get better. She was in the same position or similar position, and she's got better, you know, because I think you can feel so helpless and just feel like, this is it, this is me forever now, and it's not.
yeah, I felt like that a lot recently. Obviously, you know more than anyone.
Yeah.
I've not been well since September, and we kind of started speaking. And you was the only person really that I was telling every single day that I'm not great, and I was crying to you down the phone, or, you know,
Yeah.
and it hasn't been a great time for me the past few months, but we are getting there slowly. But, you
Yeah.
know, in the process of me not feeling very well and kind of talking to other, like, people who follow me, I've had people message me and say, "Do you know what, like, I've been nervous to message you because like, I'm a shy person," or they just didn't want to talk about how they was feeling because they thought that they would be judged. And that's not ever the case. Like, I never judge anyone. And like, if you're too shy, find it within yourself to still message me, because I would really rather you did than sit there and think that you couldn't. So,
Yeah.
you know, I appreciate, like, the messages that I get of, you know, like, support, or people that haven't done too great previously, and they've said, "You know what, like, you've really helped me a lot," and that's nice to know. Are you still there?
Back.
Yeah.
You went really quiet then.
No, it just completely went quiet. I was like, "Are you still there?" And there was nothing.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Okay. Um, so yeah, could you hear what I was saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that, I mean, for me, I feel like maybe another time we could do, like, a podcast where it's more dedicated to mental health, not like completely, because you can only
Yeah.
talk about mental health for so long, but I feel like we could do another podcast in the future where it is to talk more about mental health. But
Yeah,
yeah.
and people can always reach out. Like, when we're gonna do that, people can share their experiences and what's helped them, and whether that be medication or hobbies or distractions, you know, because, like I said, your coping mechanism may be able to help someone else as well. So I think, you know, we can always take other people's experiences and talk about them as well, if that's something they wanted to share.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we should talk about how we met.
Okay. So we'd spoken, I'd say for like, first time I spoke to you ever was when you were in Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I messaged you, didn't I? I said,
Yeah, you
I live
messaged me.
here. Where are you? But you'd already left at that point. But that was
Yeah.
literally like one message, and then we didn't speak for months and months. Like you just touched upon, it was when you were unwell, and obviously I had a placement in A&E at the time. I'm not a medical professional. I was on a course, so I'm going through Open University. But I think I wanted to reach out and help you. And then we just became so similar, and something really, really big and significant happened in my life. Obviously, I was supporting Beck, and I could see that she was struggling, and I got so invested in her illness as well. And we must have spent hours Googling, because the doctors weren't being much help, were they, at one point?
No. So I was left with questions because I was having blood tests, and every
Yeah,
blood test was coming back and they was going, no, but it's normal. And then I was like, but it's like something's wrong with me because I am not very well. And we couldn't work out what the cause was. However, I think we now have worked this out, and it's due to low ferritin levels, which I don't know how they failed to spot this
yeah.
previously through all my previous blood tests, but I found out in, I think, November that it was that. And we're getting there slowly. I am feeling a lot better. I still have the odd day where I'm not feeling great, but I'm having more good days than
Compared to
bad.
what you were, God, we're miles like on. We did say, didn't we? Like, come New Year, we're going to kick this, and
Yeah.
you're going to be better, and we are on track with that. But so we started, speaking about obviously your illness and just keeping each other company, and then we hadn't been speaking for that long. I'd say a couple of weeks. It was daily.
Yeah.
But so then something really big and significant happened in my life. And the first person I wanted to go to and went to was Becky. And at this point, I would say that we were friends, but not, we weren't anything like we were now.
Hmm.
And I just felt this pull to, I knew I needed to go to you to speak to you about it. So I went to Becky and I said, look, this has happened. And I think that pull made me realise how similar we were. Like the knowing that I knew, obviously I could have spoke to my mum, other friends, my partner, but I just knew that I wanted to speak to her about it, and obviously she reassured me and everything is fine now. But that was the point that I knew that we were really similar, is when I thought, no, I need to speak to Becky. She'll know what to do.
Yeah. And I feel like throughout this whole time that we've been speaking, because let's be honest, it's only been properly since September.
Yeah,
And I feel like we've built such a really close friendship, and that's what I love. And I do feel that we are very similar.
yeah,
We have we have similar mental health problems,
yeah.
but like with regards to other things as well, like it is very similar. And I don't think that I've ever met somebody as similar as I am before. And I feel like we click. And I'm so glad that obviously we started speaking through my illness, but I'm so glad that that kind of continued, because my life would be boring now, I think, without you, because
I
yeah.
was just going to say the same. Like, I've had this conversation. Like, my kids know who you are. Like, granted, they haven't met you, but you're very much a spoken about person in the household, with the kids. And I couldn't imagine my life without you now. And I know that's so cheesy, but
No, but it's
God,
true.
it would be so quiet. And the thing is, it has only been since September, but we have done so much already.
We
And
have.
that makes me so excited, because we have so much more to come as well. Like, not just here, like abroad. And yeah, it's going to be fantastic. And I think the amount of time that we've spent with each other hasn't been masses, but we've done so much already, and that just excites me so much.
I know, yeah. And we have, you've just said it, we've got stuff to do abroad, and I'm really looking forward to it because it's not just the exploring side of things either. Like, we're planning little trips together, which is going to be amazing, and it's given me something to kind of look forward to because I've not been
Yeah,
able to do a lot for a while. So, like, planning these little things is always something that's going to kind of keep me thinking, okay, so I've got this coming up, so that's something to look forward to.
absolutely.
So yeah, it's been really nice. But I had someone ask me this, so I had to put it in as something to talk about. So it was why we wanted to do a podcast.
Oh, okay.
Do you- Can you even
I
remember?
think because no, why do we want to do a podcast?
Right, so it was a few months ago, weren't it, when we was talking? No, but I think we see a post. Did I share a post with you about something to do with voice notes that you send to your friend, and you should do your own podcast? And then you said jokingly, let's do our own podcast. And I was like, actually, we really could.
Let's do it. Yeah, yeah. And I think as time goes on, our personalities will come out more, and like through the podcast, because some of the topics, like, we want topics. Give us topics that are controversial. Give us topics that questions that you feel like you can't ask them. We will discuss them. That's why it is Unfiltered Voices, because there is no filter here. We will discuss. We'll give you what you want to hear. It's like one of our questions at the end. Keep listening because you're going to want to hear it. But yeah, I think so many people, I mean, this could go into like a massive tangent, so I'm not going to, but so many people don't speak their mind, and I think that is half of the problem with society today. Even if you did something that upset me, not that I think you ever would, and you said, Shannon, have I upset you? I would say, you did a bit. You did this and it upset me. And I think so many people don't speak freely, and that is what needs to happen. So that's one reason I want to do it, because let's just discuss the topics that no one else wants to. Let's just do it.
Yeah, I think that if people give suggestions what we could talk about, like you said, it doesn't matter what it is, we will talk about it. Because I mean, we can talk for ages about random stuff. So this is why we this is why we need people to give suggestions what they want to hear, because otherwise we would just spend an hour talking about a load of shit, and I'm pretty sure you don't want to hear that. But
Definitely.
I, like you, do also speak my mind, and I always believe, like, I don't know, if Shannon was to piss me off, I'd be like, Shannon, you have upset me a little bit, but you overcome it, and then you kind of get past that, and I feel like it makes you stronger if that's how you are, rather than lying. Just speak your mind. Like, say what's bothering you.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And it doesn't have to be done in a negative way. It doesn't have to be, aggressive or calling someone, oh, she did this. Just speak about it. Because you may be able to resolve it. You don't. It's yeah. I think so many people would say to your face, no, you haven't upset me, and then go to their other friend and say, she really pissed me off. And I just don't see how that's going to resolve anything. But there we go. That's not how we work, and maybe that's why we are so close, because we don't agree on everything. It's like, literally, before we started this podcast, we were speaking about a celebrity, and I was like, I love her, and you were like, no, I hate her. And I was like, okay then. Like, there are going to be bumps in the road. Like, obviously that's a very minor one, but just speak about it. It doesn't have to be done in an aggressive way. You can kindly tell someone that they've upset you,
100%.
and they may resolve that. If they choose to get upset about that, then that's fine as well, but things can be resolved.
Yeah, that's like the best way to be, I think. Like, for friendships to work, I feel like you have to be honest. So, if ever you've done something and I didn't agree with it, or you'd like upset me, I would 100% tell you, because that is exactly what I'm like. And I know that you would be the same back, but we would then resolve it and move on from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
So yeah, basically we just need, I mean, we can still come up with our own subjects of what we want to talk about, but you know, if you have any recommendations that you want us to talk about, put them to us, and we can
Ask it.
obviously, yeah, we'll sit here and talk about it, and we will be honest. So yeah, and it doesn't matter. Like, don't ever feel ashamed in what you're asking. It can be anything.
Hmm.
You know, we're both very out there.
And I think also, like, because this is a big subject as well that can't be discussed in this podcast because we've got other things that we need to speak about, but there are lots of people that message me, and I know most urbexers, explorers out there get this as well. People who want to get into the hobby. I personally think it's a really hard hobby to get into because when I first started and knew that it was what I wanted to do, finding places and finding tips on how to find places and derelict buildings, or these lovely time captured houses, nobody wanted to help. It can be quite a hostile hobby, and this is something we will speak about in the future, but getting into exploring and urbexing, I think it's quite hard, because people don't want to give out locations, and I get that. I do get that side of it, but you can feel quite alone. I get so many people message me saying, "Oh, how do you find these places?" Or, "Do you have anywhere that I can go?" And, so I feel like if it's something that you are interested in, ask some questions. Do you have any tips on how to find these places? Because we can also speak about that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I have a lot of people come to me and say, "Do you share locations?" And to be honest, sometimes I will, like if I can share them, but sometimes I can't share certain ones, and that's okay. Like, that's how this hobby works. If
Yeah,
you
and
if
there's always reasons why you can't as well. It's not free being a hoarder or bitter. There are reasons why some locations don't get shared, and I completely agree with you on that one. I'm exactly the same.
Yeah,
Um, but it's never that we're gatekeeping. It's just for good reasons.
yeah, like we
It's
could
like
get,
sorry, Beck, over in Eastbourne at the moment, like that way. There's been 3 fires this week in a week for abandoned buildings. They've just burnt down to the ground.
yeah, it's
Um,
bad.
so that's one reason, because you don't want these beautiful places that you guys enjoy seeing so much to be burnt down to the ground. Because obviously you do get kids and teenagers, and not always kids and teenagers, but you do get people doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. But you also have the side of it as well. Like I've spent years building trust with people.
Hmm.
And I wouldn't say they gave me a location. I wouldn't want to then give it to somebody else and then that location gets fucked over because I've give it to somebody that I don't know. So that's another reason why some of these locations I have to keep quiet.
Yeah, and I think what you just said is so true. You have to build up trust with somebody. There's lots of people. I mean, I've not been doing it too long. Like I said at the beginning, you've been doing it a lot longer than I have. But even in the 2.5 years I've been doing it, I thought I can trust somebody, and then the location gets absolutely fucked over, and you just think, well, it's like eliminating. It's finding the people that are genuine and you can trust, and that's just part of it.
Yeah. And it's very, very hard to come by people in this hobby that you trust, because I've had locations before that I've given to someone that I found myself, and they get out, and then I'm like, well, how has that got out? Because I've not given it.
Yeah.
So that's a frustrating part about this hobby. You think you can trust people, and then in the end they end up just stabbing you in the back, and it's not nice, but you learn from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Take a positive from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have got some questions that people have asked us. So I've
Okay, let's
picked
go.
so I picked out 5 that I thought were good to talk about. So the first question being, I can't remember, I didn't write down the names of who's asked these questions. I'm so sorry, but you are going to know who's asked them. So the first one was best bits about exploring.
Ah,
So
it depends what kind of explorer it is, because with the houses and time capsules, I think it is every single one is different, and you literally walk into somebody's whole entire life. Birthday cards, pictures of them on the wall when they were a child to what they were just before they passed or left the house. Or so I think every single time capsule is different, and it is just the most amazing feeling to walk into something and have no idea what you're going to find. But then with the commercial side of it, so like police stations, leisure centres, hospitals, for me, and I'm being honest, it's the adrenaline.
Yeah. Do you know what? I am a massive adrenaline junkie, and I love doing things where I'm most likely going to get caught.
Yeah.
So not necessarily caught, but where I know we're going to get either police or security, because it gives me that little bit of excitement that I feel like I need sometimes. And this is
Yeah.
why I explore a lot of bigger buildings with Mr. Airborne, because we're always guaranteed that when we go out, we're going to have police or security. It's
Yeah.
nearly every single place we go to, and that's what I enjoy. Like, I love that part of exploring. I like, the houses, but sometimes you can get a very off feeling, and
Yes. Oh my
sometimes
God.
it makes me feel on edge. So like, don't get me wrong, I still love the houses and I will still do them. I've got loads to do, but at the moment I'm loving the bigger things. Like, I really
Yeah.
enjoy doing the bigger things.
Yeah. And I think I'm exactly the same. And so many people say to me, but you claim you have anxiety, but yet you will happily go to a place knowing that you're going to get caught, or, there's a chance that police can turn up. But I think for me, I'm so confident in knowing what I'm doing is not illegal. I'm not going to get arrested, unless obviously you get an arsehole policeman, which I know Mr. Airborne has unfortunately had a lot of.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, we've discovered down to trolls, which is absolutely through jealousy.
Yeah.
But I'm so confident in knowing that I am just civil trespassing. It doesn't bother me. It gives me a rush to know that, yes, police might turn up, yes, security might catch us, but I am going to walk away because we're not breaking the law,
Yeah, definitely. I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, the best bits about exploring, though, like for me, is it helps me mentally, it gets me out of the house, and for the
Mm-hmm.
whole time I'm out, I'm not thinking about anything what could be going on in my life at that moment in time. I'm just thinking about what's happening there and then. So like, the best bits for me are the adrenaline rush, and that it just makes me completely forget everything in that moment, and it just makes me happy.
Yeah, which is great.
Yes. Yeah. So our second question is best explore that we've done.
I mean, we've just had an incredible weekend at the it best explore we've done, because I think that's really hard to choose one. Do you agree?
I do, yeah. It's when people say to me the best explore that you've done, like, I can think of so many, because
Yeah.
I've gone to so many places to explore, like, out of the UK. And there's so many places that I've done that I've really, really enjoyed, but I can't pinpoint just one. But
No, because it's all for different reasons as well, I think.
yeah, you're gonna have separate reasons why you like certain
Yeah.
explores. Like, I absolutely love hospitals and I love morgues, and that's just the morbid side of me, I think. But
Yeah.
I have to say it without a doubt, the best explore that I've done so far, that I've really, really, really enjoyed, is the one we done the other day,
Yeah, no, same.
because
Absolutely.
we was in there for hours, and we knew that we could happily be in there for hours, and we could just fully enjoy ourselves, and we really did.
And I think it was just so different to the normal explore. I'm quite confident that something like that's not going to come up frequently. So it was very different. Once we'd taken our pictures, we literally acted like 10-year-olds for hours and hours and hours. Like, we had the most amazing fun.
We did, we
So,
did.
but then, so yeah, absolutely, hands down, if someone said that, if that, my answer to that question, right, right here and right now is the activity centre we done at the weekend. But
Yeah.
like I said, there's so many different ones for different reasons. It's like the Gold Mansion. So we've been called lots of different things. So many people said, oh, it's tacky. Hey, I loved it. I walked in that house and I thought it was stunning, and I did it very late on. It wasn't in the best condition, but just for me, I loved that house.
It is a really
And
nice house as well, that one.
yeah, but so many people didn't rate it. That's why Urbex is so cool as well, because everyone sees things so differently. You know, just because I've seen someone do a place and take a picture of the fireplace, that may not stand out to me. I might go there and walk straight past the fireplace and take a picture of a little ornament on the wall. You know, so everyone sees it differently, which is fantastic. That's great.
Yeah. That the Gold Mansion that you're on about, I I went there a few years ago. And
Yeah, you did a while ago, didn't you?
yeah. So I posted that on TikTok, and it went viral. And the family the family see it on TikTok. So they contacted me through Instagram, and let me tell you, I had death threats from that house.
Oh my
I was
God.
told to delete that house, or if I didn't, mine and my child's lives were at risk. So I deleted it.
Hmm.
I have no footage of that place anymore.
I've heard the same story from a couple of people that did it around the same time as you as well.
Yeah.
I think because my following's smaller, I've been okay. It's not gone out there. But I know it was a bit of a dodgy, yeah,
Yeah,
bit
it
of a
was.
dodgy one at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably, yeah, one explore that I'll never forget. It was a good house. It was really good, but it was not worth the hassle that I got after.
No, definitely not.
Right, so question 3. What do we enjoy exploring the most?
I
So,
go through stages, Beck. I don't know. Like, I think if I had to call it, it would be industrial commercial. So, like you said, hospitals, police stations, leisure centres, you know, bigger things. But then I do sometimes crave a time cap, you know. But for me, I would choose an abandoned hospital over a time cap bungalow. And that is just purely preference.
absolutely. So, once upon a time, it was just, I was just all about the houses.
Yeah.
But since going out with Mr. Airborne, um,
Yeah.
no, to be fair, I've always liked a hospital. But since going out with Mr. Airborne, I'm loving the bigger stuff because, like I said, you get the security, you get the police, and it's the adrenaline thing. But
Yeah.
um, it's not houses anymore. If I was given a hospital or a house, I would go to the hospital first.
Yeah.
So for me,
Absolutely.
I really, really, really enjoy hospitals, and I think that's probably always going to be the case.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's like the hunting around trying to find a morgue to see if there's like a morgue there, because again, that's something else I really enjoy. And you're never, let's put it this way, you're never going to see a morgue in your lifetime unless you do what we do, because you can't get permission into a morgue, or you're only going
That
to
is
get
so
to see a
true.
morgue if you work there.
Yeah. I'd never thought about it like that.
So that's why I like the morgues, because you're never going to get to see one.
Yeah, definitely.
And I know that a lot of people enjoy seeing them as well. Like, so if I find a morgue and I post it, people enjoy it because you don't see them. So
No,
yeah,
that is very true. And people have said to me before, but are all hospitals not the same? No, they're all in such different condition. Some of them are full, some of them are empty. You know, like they are all different. You know, best believe there's never ever two explores that are the same.
no, no. You could get. We've recently done a hospital. The one where you had security.
Oh, we did, yeah.
So you've got that hospital, which is very, very fresh. But
Yeah.
then you could have another hospital that's really, really old. So yeah, not all explores are going to be the same. So, regardless, if you enjoy the hospitals, not all hospitals are going to look the same. They can look completely different. There was one in, I think it was Boreham Woods, and it's now completely gone. But it was the Stanmore Hospital, I think. That was a really, really old hospital, and I loved that hospital.
Yeah, definitely. And I was going to say similar. So we had the one that we've recently done,
Yep.
which was really fresh. Literally, you wouldn't have known it was abandoned from some of the photos.
Yeah.
And then you had one down by me, which it was Hasler Hospital. I can out it now because most of it's gone, and
Yep.
the last bit standing is literally a wall. That hadn't been used in years. Did you do Hasler?
I have done it, yeah. And do you know what? I got there quite late, but I loved that hospital.
Same. That's what I was going to say. It didn't have loads in it, but it did have some bits. And for me, it was the decay.
Yes.
It had a really eerie feeling, but not a horrible eerie feeling. It just had that old. So yeah, they're for very different reasons. Hospitals are a really cool place to go and take a look around.
They are. And I sit here, and I'm not joking when I say this, I can sit here for hours just researching hospitals to find out what's closing, when it's closing. There are a few that are due to close this year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like
There is.
I find myself counting down the time, like thinking, come on, because I've got this I want to do. So, yeah,
I
hospitals.
feel like cinemas have been a thing recently as well. We've had quite a lot of cinemas close, haven't we?
We
Which
have.
we have gone and done.
Yeah.
And they've been cool.
Yeah.
Did get caught on a couple of them, but it was still really cool. But yeah, they've seemed to have been dropping like flies recently.
Yeah, do you know what? I didn't even think of the cinemas. Yeah. The cinemas, I like the cinemas as well.
Yeah. And again, ones that have been empty for 20 years, opposed to ones that closed last week. They're still cool in their own way. I love going into a cinema and finding a poster from like 1996 of when a film come out or something. It's
Yeah.
it's so fascinating. Yeah.
I love cinemas. I just don't do them enough.
I know. It can be hard, can't it? When, like you said, like if you get given a house or a hospital, we've discussed that obviously the hospital will be our choice, but sometimes I think you have dry periods through exploring as well where it just goes very quiet and there doesn't seem to be much to do, which is where the time caps can come in handy because you could always find them on a map surf. If you look hard enough, you're going to find something, but then you have these really busy periods of all these commercial big places closing and you're like, oh my goodness, I need to get to all of them. And yeah, so we've actually been quite busy recently as explorers. We've been doing some really good stuff.
Yeah.
I hope that continues.
Absolutely. Yeah, I need to be at a point where I'm back driving,
Yes,
which
you
hopefully is
do.
not going to be very long, and then we can do so much more. But at the moment, I'm so limited with what I can do because I have obviously been advised that I can't drive until I'm completely better.
And obviously Ricky's at work in the week, so yeah.
It's just hard, but we will get there. And I feel like this year we're going to absolutely smash it with the explores.
Undoubtedly. Absolutely. I'm certain on that and I just can't wait.
Yeah, it's not going to be much longer, I promise, and I'll be
And I
back to
can't
my normal
wait to be
self.
doing it in nicer weather as well, let me tell you, because I'm a winter girly. I love Christmas. I love all of that, but I've had enough now and I'm definitely ready for them. I'm ready for the daylight as well.
Yes.
Like that 9-10 o'clock daylight. I'm craving that, because it's such a. Obviously, we do explore in the dark, but I do sometimes. Certain locations are so much better in light, So yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, not too much longer. But we've got the abroad stuff to do as well.
I know that's coming up soon as well.
Yeah.
I haven't been aboard in years. I know it's a different story for you, but that's why I'm so excited because it's been a long time for me and I feel like I really need it. Like you said, not just for exploring, like there are going to be some really cool explores coming up abroad, but lots of other content from abroad as well from the both of us, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a lot to look forward to. So, the fourth question we had was scariest explore.
Okay, I know mine. Do you want to go first?
No, you go first.
Okay, so my scariest to explore is a bit of a strange one. I'm going to out the place because it's absolutely trashed, and 9 out of 10 people will know about it anyway. So it's Fernhurst.
Okay.
Do you know where I'm on about?
Nope.
You would if you saw pictures. So it's an old, I think, I'm going to get shot down for this by other urbexers because I don't think that, don't quote me on this, but it's like a commercial building. So it was offices of some sort. I think maybe it was something to do with AstraZeneca or something like that. Like a research centre. That's what it is. It's a research centre for different medications and stuff like that. I think I might be wrong. Don't shoot me down. So it's a massive, massive building in the middle of nowhere. When it was dark, walked up to it. This was over a year ago now. It was dark. It was absolutely trashed. All the windows were smashed. It was graffitied. All the ceiling had been coming down on. I'd say it's about a 7-8 floor building. And we were walking up to it, and we just had that feeling that you said about that. I felt like I was being watched. Just felt really weird. Walked in there. When I say this building is literally trashed, anyone that's been there will know what I mean. Walked in there, and there was what looked like blood in this one corner room, everywhere, and there was like see-through plastic bags put all up against the wall, like as if someone had planned a murder, to take someone then kill them. Then obviously there was like this what looked like a body in a white tarpaulin wrapped up in the middle of the room, and I mean looked like a body. You had the feet, the head, obviously it was wrapped up. And we were all like, oh my God, we need to call the police. What's going on? Went in, found it was all fake. It was food colouring. It was a wrapped up body. It was actually a really well-known YouTuber who does like these fake scenes. But to walk into there already having a really strange feeling and see that, I just felt so on edge. Then that's not where it ends. We went upstairs, so we were making our way up. And the person I was with shouted, "Oh my goodness, come and look at this." And in one of the rooms was a real pig's head that had been cut off the body.
No.
And all of its trotters around. And I still to this day don't know why that was there.
That is
If
weird.
anyone else has been to this place and seen that, please message one of us, because I never posted the photo because it was graphic. But yeah, a real pig's head and its feet, 4 trotters, just sat in this room, and I was just like, no, I had that feeling already, and that place just made me feel so cold through to my core. It was horrible. So for me, that was the scariest explore. Horrible. Your turn.
That sounds a bit fucking scary.
There was no explanation either. I literally drove the whole way home and was thinking, why would somebody put a pig's head? I don't know. Someone said it might have been like a ritual thing. You have these like devil worshippers or so. I don't know. But yeah, not for me. Not for me, babe.
Very, very odd. Right.
So what was yours?
Yeah, so my scariest one was me, Ricky, Mr. Airborne. We headed to London. There was a hospital that we were going to go and do. We scouted it out. We tried to work out the best way in, which we found in the end. And it was over a gate. But the hospital where we had to climb over the gate, it was on a very busy road. So it was a case of waiting for cars to go by, waiting for people to not be looking out of their windows. We just went for it. And we climbed into a top window into this hospital. And it was all fine at first. And Mr. Airborne, I can't remember if it was Mr. Airborne or Ricky, but someone opened a door. And security was asleep in one of the rooms.
Oh my God.
He was fine. He was absolutely fine. We said we was going to leave. However, on our way out of the window that we climbed in, now bear in mind it was a drop, we had to get out safely, which we did. But in the process of me getting out of the window, 2 security men, along with the third one that we'd woken up, were stood outside with pointy sticks, and they were threatening Mr. Airborne with these sticks. And let me tell you, that is the most scariest experience I've ever had with exploring, because I felt safe, but Ricky and Mr. Airborne, on the other hand, they're males.
Yeah.
So I was worried for them. And we was getting shit from them for probably maybe about half an hour.
Yeah.
And they were threatening with the sticks. They were backing Mr. Airborne up. It was scary. It was really scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the process of me trying to get out, one of them come towards me, and Mr. Airborne said, "No, don't touch her." Because what I was trying to do is I'd already got signals from Mr. Airborne and Ricky to get out, so that they could just, run and jump the fence. So I was trying to back away so I could get towards the gate, to which they all ended up following. So it took longer than we would have liked it to have done. But yeah, no. So there was no physical violence, which I'm glad for. But I genuinely think if Mr. Airborne wasn't on alive at the time, things could have been a lot different. But I highly suspect that hospital is being used to grow certain things that it shouldn't be.
There we go then, that'll be why.
Yeah, I don't want to make it too obvious because I don't know what I can and can't say, but I do think that it's being used for the wrong reasons. But me, Mr. Airborne, actually went back stupidly. And this was another time, like months after. And we climbed on a roof. We got into the grounds, and security started chasing us again. But we couldn't see them, but they could definitely see where we were. So we jumped over a fence and we walked over the road. And one of the some bloke was walking across the outside, like the perimeter, and he was on a phone, but he was watching us. And then all of a sudden, this BMW drove past us and said, "Fuck off now." So that screams to me that something dodgy is going on there.
Yeah, I would say undoubtedly that is the case.
Yeah.
Which is why they were so angry, because maybe they didn't know what you'd seen, or if you'd, rumbled what was going on. So, but yeah, that does sound pretty scary.
It was scary.
That's why it is so good to always record these altercations. So many people say to me, "You do it for clout, you do it for content." Yeah, I do, because that's what my Urbex pages are about, is content, but at the same time, something similar happened where my partner was assaulted. I can't speak on that at the moment because the security guard actually has been arrested for it, an ABH charge, which rarely happens.
Yeah.
But that's why you've always got to record, because you do have rights. Police and security, and I am talking about police in this as well, not just security officers. They don't have a green card to do whatever they want to. There are limits, there are restrictions on what they can and can't do, and you have your rights too. So that's why it's always good to either, like Mr. A does, be on live or have your phone out recording, because they can't just threaten you with sticks or push you around. They're not allowed to do that.
Absolutely. And that's why I record a lot of these altercations that we have, because it's all there. You've got proof. So they can't lie and say, "Well, this happened." Well, no, it didn't. Because I've got the proof, mate.
Yeah. I sometimes do that as well. We're going into a building. So, if it's an on top building, should I say, like, a building where you're more than likely going to get security or police, I'll always record the way in so they can't say that we've broken anything or caused any damage, because we can just say, "No, this was open, this is where we got in," so it's kind of to cover our own backs as well as providing content for other people, you guys as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the next question?
The next question is the last one that we've got, and it's the most hated explorer. So my most hated explorer is Robbie Baines.
Yeah.
For one reason, really, that would probably piss a lot of the Urbex community off.
Okay.
He's had some personal vendetta against Urbex couple and a few other explorers for quite a while. I don't know what his problem is. I've never spoken to him. But I started to find that when I was finding places of my own, people would be going and spraying, like spray painting in them, like Urbex Couple and things like that. So it made it look like we was doing it when it wasn't us. I found a morgue one day, and I knew that Robbie Baines was going to be there about an hour before I was going. I'd been that day already in the morning, but I was going to go back in the evening because there were certain photos that I wasn't happy with. So I went back after Robbie Baines had been, and it was spray painted to fuck. And he has this habit of spray painting certain names so it looks like they've been there and spray painted it themselves. So that is why I don't like Robbie Baines. I feel like he blags a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I have proof. The bloke's a liar, and I don't like him.
He is, and if he ever listens to this, I've never spoken to the guy, personally. I hadn't heard of him up until about a year ago, to be honest with you. But I dislike the guy too, and it was only very recently I was given a really good opportunity to go to Kingsway, which is an incredible deep shelter bunker in London, and it's not an easy one to get into at all. And I was given the opportunity to go and do that, and I knew he was going to be there, and I knew somebody that was really close with him was going to be there, and I refused. I spoke to you about it, didn't I? I said, look, I want to go do this, but I don't want to be fake. So I said to the person, look, I'll come, but I do not like these people. So please let them know, because this is where it comes in earlier. Just be honest,
Yep.
While we were there, there was like this whiteboard with loads of urbex's names on it. Not like on the wall. People hadn't been writing on the wall. It was just a whiteboard, and there was a whiteboard pen. So we wrote our names on there as well, and my partner wrote his name on there as well. And Robbie, at a little while after, but on the same day, wrote his name in black marker pen, obviously in his handwriting, and then lo and behold, some nasty inappropriate language and names appeared above my partner's name in the same handwriting in the same black marker. So I think he's childish, he's a hater, and not his biggest fan. Most hated urbexer is something I would absolutely love to speak about, but I'm going to be the big 27-year-old that I am and say maybe we will speak about that at a later date, because I do know what, like, hate's a big word, okay? There are a few people in the urbex community. I'd say there's 2 people in the urbex community that I generally do really hate. There's a few I dislike, but yeah, let's just leave that where it is for now. And we can always come back to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's going to be time for us to come back to this in the future and talk about certain things to do with people in this hobby. But that's it. We've gone through all the questions.
And it's been an hour. See how we just talk?
Yeah, it has been an hour. So I'm really pleased that we've done this. If people have got more questions or subjects, put them forward to us. We can do it on another one. But yeah, that's us done.
I really enjoyed that. That was really fun.
I feel like maybe in the future, like, our personalities will show a bit more, but this is our first one, and we probably are coming across a bit like reserved, but don't worry, we will show ourselves eventually.
We will. And yeah, please, one thing I really want people to do is ask questions. Ask them questions that you really want to know but you feel like you can't. Just ask them. I want there to be some really juicy questions that we can discuss, whether it's about our personal life or us as a I was going to say us as a couple then, us, our friendship, or urbex, exploring, ask it and we will speak about it, and we'll try and remember who's asked them as well. So yeah.
Amazing.
Okay, we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.